Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Let's talk transmissions. Actually, first, let's recap on where we are on the Cobra. So, bought the cheapest Cobra I could find basically anywhere. Yay. Had an automatic transmission. Boo. So where does that leave us? Well, fortunately, Factory 5 made it pretty easy on us by building the car to accept a wide range of drivetrains and engines and transmissions. The car came to us with an AOD automatic in it. It was burnt up, had some issues. The car was originally built with a TKO, so we're off at a pretty good starting place because it still has the third pedal, clutch master, all that good happy stuff. So at this point, the easiest thing to do would be break out the credit card, order up a TKO 600 and all the accessories we need and throw it in the car. But that's, well, not really keeping the spirit of the build. I'm not really convinced it's necessary for the setup we have here, and it would blow the budget. So the T5 is still a great option. It's not a style of a transmission. But the later ones were rated at 300 foot-pounds behind a 3,000 pound car. We have a 2,000 pound car. We have a 351 that's stroked, but not really sure what it's putting out. But we're also not going to be abusing it. I've seen them hold up behind high horsepower applications pretty well. So we're not going to be, power shifting this thing or really, being on a drag strip on slicks or anything like that. So I think we have a path forward that's going to work out real well for us. I had a transmission from an 80s Mustang that I thought was going to be the way to go, and all the accessories. That didn't really work out. So we came up with a plan B that honestly I think is probably even a better plan, and I want to share it with you because it's going to be a great way to get a really stout transmission in your 302, 351 base car for not a lot of cash. We'll run through why the original trans isn't going to work out and then go through the workaround, and I hope you'll like it. That's where things kind of started going downhill. I pulled the transmission in here, and unfortunately I kind of yard sailed it all over the garage rather than having this all nice and neat on a table. But anyway, popped the top cover off, pulled the tail house off of it, and discovered that this particular transmission is missing a few teeth here. So on third gear, we basically need to have a new neutral. So at this point I had to do some soul searching and decide, do I rebuild it? Do I get another potentially junk one that's been abused behind a 5.0? Do I buy a brand new unit, at which point you're almost to the cost of a TKO? Or do I go do this and buy one of these? This is a T5. It's essentially the same thing as what's laying over there. It's a world-class overall. It's out of a V6, 99 to 04 V6. So yeah, that V6. These things were the stuff of high school parking lots 10 years ago. High school parking lots around the country are full of these. Now junkyards are full of them. So I know what you're thinking. I can't believe you're putting that V6 trans behind a V8. Well, from everything I've researched, this is basically internally the same as a world class. There's some slight differences on the packaging of it, and we're going to run through those real quick. But essentially, this will bolt right up to a 5.0 or Windsor-based Ford motor. So let's take a closer look. So your differences really overall are your bell housing and your input shaft on the front end and your tail housing on the back end. Let's go grab the other tail housing real quick and we can compare them actually. So on a 5.0 style or earlier T5, you have a mounting interface here for mechanical speedometer drive. On the newer T5, you don't have that. Instead, you have an electronic output here. There's a sensor for that. If you did need a mechanical speedometer drive, you can actually swap the tail housings and add your mechanical speedometer gear. The shaft is still machined for it. The catch is there's no detent for the clip, the retaining clip for this on the newer transmission. So some people solve that by getting creative and actually making their own detent, adding this, and then putting that tail housing on. That's one option. For me, I already have electronic gauges, and so I'm hoping I can make the sending unit that's on this transmission work. So I won't have that issue, I hope. The other issue is on the front end. Again, that input shaft is about 5/8, 11/16, somewhere in that neighborhood longer. So your distance for the bell housing is deeper. You can get around that by swapping the input shafts between the two transmissions if you already have a world class that, like I have, that's, you know, slightly hurt but has a good input. Sometimes you can pull that off. There's a certain age or a certain year range where that works. I didn't really want to go down that rabbit hole, and this bell house bolts right up. The one catch is the flywheel difference. These transmissions were designed for a 164 tooth flywheel, whereas the old ones had a 157 tooth flywheel. This isn't really a big deal. You can buy the exact flywheel you need from Jegs for 90 bucks and get around that problem. So we're talking budget options. How much is this going to really cost? Well, this T5 was only 250 bucks. You're not going to find another 5-speed transmission this stout for that price anywhere. That was the transmission, bell housing, clutch fork, even came with the old clutch and a bunch of other bolts and stuff that we're not going to use. But that combined with the new flywheel that's around 100 bucks and a new stock-ish replacement clutch and some hardware, we're going to be in this whole swap for around $500 all in. And that's awesome. You're not going to get that kind of deal anywhere for a transmission that's going to hold up to a 351 or a 302. I guess time will tell if it holds up to this 351, but I'm not worried at all. I've seen these transmissions hold up in way worse applications, taking way more abuse than what we're going to put on our little Cobra here. And I think I'm really looking forward to this. So we're going to wrap it up here. I'm going to go ahead and tear into the car, but we'll do that in another video so we don't stretch this out too long and you don't get tired of me rambling, hopefully. And thanks for tuning in. Reminder, hit the subscribe button to see how this comes out. And yeah, hopefully I have a lot of fun with this car. Thanks.